Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This was my first Star Wars film. I was 12 years old when I saw this in the theater for the first time. I had never seen a Star Wars film before, and this was a great introduction to the franchise. But I don't really remember all the specific details of what happened. I do know that it was loud, action-packed, and really fun. But now that I'm doing this Star Wars marathon, does it still hold up? Is it the best film of the prequels? Yes. Because of Count Dooku's actions with the droid army and the Separatists, there is now a war going on in the galaxy. In the middle of all this is General Grievous, who is the new leader of the droid army, as well as the head of the Separatist movement after Anakin defeated Dooku. Anakin and Padme are now married after Attack of the Clones, and are about to have kids. You original trilogy fans know who. Again, the other Jedis don't know about it, and neither does the entire Jedi Council. Palpatine wants Anakin to be a representative on the Council, but the Council won't allow him to be a Jedi Master because of his relationship with Palpatine. Soon enough, he slowly turns to the dark side. He starts to be torn between his Jedi duties and Palpatine's wise wisdom of the dark side. So, if you're keeping track, Anakin has noticed flaws with the Jedi Council. He's noticed that the democracy is falling apart. He's noticing how the Council is corrupt, and that Palpatine is the one who could save him and his wife Padme. By this point, Anakin has been misguided to the point where he turns his back on everything that he originally stood for. And this becomes a very traumatic situation for everyone involved. And I literally mean everybody. This movie is more darker than the last two films, and for a good reason. Not only that it's the rise of the Sith, but it's also the fall of not only the Jedi and the Jedi Temple, but also the Republic, which crumbles under the formation of a galactic empire. It is, if you will, the beginning of the end. Everyone is now against the Republic according to Palpatine, and because of this, Order 66 is in effect wiping out all of the Jedi, at least according to this movie. I heard something that there are some Jedis that are still alive after this, that there are some Jedis that escaped Order 66, but as far as I know, that's only in the Expanded Universe books. Remember, we're focusing on these movies alone. Anyway, it's a very disturbing sequence that shows how the Sith has finally taken over and is now the rise of the Galactic Empire. In this movie, all the emotions are right in this one. Where Attack of the Clones' emotions were at times whiny, this one got them right, and also the acting here is improved too. Every scene felt important to the narrative. Every scene wraps everything up nicely. Not a single scene is wasted. Everything was just right and well paced. When I was a kid seeing these intense scenes for the first time, I noticed how intense it can really get. And just when I was starting to think that Star Wars was just a simple sci-fi film, it's more than that. There's so much that happens, you'll get soaked into its political talk, which are actually way more easier to understand this time around, raw emotions and epic action scenes that you enjoy the experience. You get lost in the character development, so it almost becomes more like a tragedy. It becomes a tragic tale of someone who has risen up to power, and also to the point where he'll turn his back on everything that he stood for. And it's become so gripping and moving that you honestly are just soaked into it. We see other planets here, including Kashyyyk, home of the Wookiees, and Mustafar, a volcanic planet where the climax of the film takes place. There's also a planet known as Yutapu, whatever. It's a remote planet where Obi-Wan and General Grievous have their big battle, and it's also where the home of the Separatists are. There are other worlds we see in this movie, but sadly, I don't know the names of them. Do you know them? There are so many good scenes in this movie. For example, there's a scene in which Padme and Anakin are in different buildings, not saying a word, thinking about the future. It's a great scene, filled with tons of emotions. Sometimes you don't need dialogue to convey drama. Another good scene is at the opera. Palpatine explains to Anakin about the dark side, and also about a powerful Sith Lord named Darth Plagueis, who was powerful enough to save people from dying, but he was able to talk to midichlorians, and how he had so much power he was afraid of losing it. It gives the saga a folklore that was only in the original trilogy before this scene. It's a chilling story. Plus, we see Yoda fighting again, more than once. It's awesome, but at the same time, it's very significant to the narrative. As it says in the advertising, the saga is complete. And it is true. It ties up everything, and I mean everything. Where the characters end up, where they are emotionally, and what happens in the original trilogy. The battles are amazing, on both the planets and in space. They tie into the emotional themes in the film, like the Battle of Kashyyyk, the Battle of Yutapu, the duel with Obi-Wan and General Grievous, who, P.S., I actually like him as a villain, by the way, Mace Windu versus Palpatine, the epic duel with Yoda and Sidious, and the final duel with Anakin and Obi-Wan. This duel is important to the narrative because of the fact that we saw Anakin and Obi-Wan grow together like brothers, and now they must destroy one another. It's a tragic scene. This movie flows like a Shakespeare tragedy, and rightfully so. This is the movie where we see Anakin become Darth Vader, and once we actually see Anakin in the full Darth Vader suit, it's a very chilling moment. This is the moment that ties the original trilogy with the prequel trilogy, and it works. If you ignore the no moment. Overall, this movie is awesome. The emotions and acting are improved, the writing better, the action more important, it's darker, edgier, powerful yet fulfilling, and the drama is satisfying. If you never liked episodes 1 and 2, then this will redeem both those films. I'd say definitely check this one out.